of weeks ago, we reviewed Prince of Persia over in our adult show on ABC2, Good Game, but an entirely different version of the Forgotten Sands has been released for the Wii, so we thought we'd review that here for Spawn Point, and I was pleasantly surprised by this, Barjo.
Yeah, me too, Hex. Now, the story here is set straight after the events of the 2003 classic game, The Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time, which the movie is currently based on, but this game has nothing to do with the movie or the other game which was set after the original Prince of Persia, Sands of Time from 2003. It's all a little bit confusing in my brain, Hex.
Yeah.
My sensors detected 0 Jake Gyllenhaal.
Well, that's not definitely a bad thing. Anyway, it's a classic tale of boy searching for riches, meets untrustworthy genie who promises to take him to his own kingdom that he can rule over, and also gives him the ability to revive himself.
You told me when you promised me my kingdom.
Patience, my prince. Your kingdom is right here.
There's nothing here, genie.
But the city that the genie leads him to is plagued with monsters and ruled over by an evil witch. The prince must work with the genie to rid the city of nasties. She also makes him kiss a bunch of statues.
I prefer a harem girl to these stone lips.
Ew, stony.
If you've played a Prince of Persia game before, you'll know that this is primarily a game of jumping puzzles. In this version, you'll be using the Wiimote and the nunchuck to leap, swing, climb, and run along walls to pick your path through the kingdom. And once you get the hang of it, this free-running movement becomes really exciting and fun.
Yeah, with games like this, it's all about getting into the rhythm, and the game's little clues like scratches worn into a wall will let you know where it's safe to run. Also, your genie bestows upon you a life orb, and this gets filled with the souls of demons, which are little glowing balls of light you'll need to collect as you go. You need to have souls in your life orb for it to revive you at the same point you died. Run out and you'll have to restart back at the last checkpoint, which can be frustrating, but it's fair nonetheless. This is used in place of the ability to rewind time that was in the other version we reviewed.
I like that you collect these balls of light for a purpose. Often in games, these little collection things are just for points or for no reason that I can discern, but collecting these will give you a retry when you start getting to those really tricky bits. Plus, they also work as a guide if you get lost, and as Prince of Persia games can be quite the labyrinth, it becomes a necessity.
Affirmative. If you get lost, follow the balls.
The puzzles are brain-tickling, but nothing particularly challenging until late in the game. And again, it's nothing we really haven't seen before in previous games. You'll pick up abilities as you go, like the power to create wall handles or platforms of air where certain coloured panels allow, and this was done by pointing the Wii Remote at the coloured tile and hitting B. I liked this, but it wasn't something that was particularly easy to pull off on the fly. You really needed to take a moment to find the cursor and aim. Also, the game keeps offering you hints, but they're not useful hints, they're just the blindingly obvious objective to the puzzle, like climb to the top or activate this lever that the game has already made a really big deal of showing you. Thanks, I know, but it's there for noobs and you can turn it off if you want to.
How did you find the combat?
Well, when I saw that there was no option for the classic controller on the box, I was a bit worried that it would be a bit of a waggle fest, but because this is primarily a jumping puzzle game, the combat is quite intermittent, so I didn't actually find myself getting dead arm. You can slash at enemies, press A to jump on top of them, then a quick shake to send them flying across the room, or a simple shake will perform an impressive tornado attack.
Yeah, there's still a lot of vigorous shaking of your arms backwards and forwards, and it's nothing too inspired, but it does serve as a nice break from all the swinging and jumping, and it also limbers you up for the next amount of puzzling. Plus, if you're smart, you'll take down the enemy party leader that's lit up with blue. Destroying him first will cause all the others to flee, severely cutting down your waggle time.
Well, boss fights are your standard fare of attacking feet or hands until the boss becomes weak enough for you to climb up and perform a series of QuickTime events. This kind of approach to boss fights is getting a bit tiresome, isn't it?
Affirmative. With a QuickTime event, you simply have to respond to a simple button press shown on the screen. Even a noob can handle that.
Yeah, it's nothing too challenging, at least not till much later on. Most of your frustration will come from accidental jumps in the wrong direction or poorly aiming a wall run, causing you to die just before a checkpoint. And this is no reflection on the controls. They're well designed and wonderfully free and easy to use once you've mastered them.
Yeah, I love it when you get into a big garden area and you push minors and it shows you exactly where you need to go. It's so daunting at first. I've got to get all the way up there, but once you work through all the puzzles and leap and climb to the final point, it's actually really rewarding, and then you start to realize just how much fun you had getting there.
We've almost come full circle. The creature can't be far.
The graphics deserve a mention too. They're some of the best I've seen in the Wii, although I find myself saying that more and more lately. The whirls of sand and the beautifully designed chambers were just stunning, although I can't help but complain about one thing.
Let me guess. camera control.
I can't help it, it's just so annoying. For the most part, the camera automatically guides you in the right direction, which is great. But when you just want to have a look around or get a better gauge of where you need to go, you need to hold down C on the nunchuck and then use the Wii Remote to find the cursor on the screen and point it in the direction that you need to look. There's just no way to do this on the run. It's just not fluid.
Yeah, I see what you mean. A lot of Wii games are starting to do this, and it just doesn't work. Wiimote as camera is not practical.
Thankfully, I could survive without looking around too much beyond the view that the camera automatically gave me, so it wasn't that big of an issue. It's just such a familiar annoyance, you know, but I mean, overall it didn't taint my experience of the game too much. I actually had a really great time with this.
If you've been inspired by the film, or if you're new to the franchise, this is a great place to start. There's 10 to 15 hours of good swinging and jumping puzzling gameplay here. But if you have played a Prince of Persia game before, then this is going to be a bit of deja vu. It's not much of a departure, and that upset me, Hex, because I wanted to see something new, so I'm giving it 7.5 out of 10 rubber chickens.
You know, I adore these kinds of free-running jumping puzzle games, Badge, and Ubisoft just does them so well. I mean, it is standard Prince of Persia fare, but it works beautifully, and I thought this was a great title to release in the Wii. With the exception of the camera, the controls worked beautifully as well. It was a joy to play. It's 8 out of 10 from me.